Good morning, Devils fans. I'm going to be going a little bit out of order with today's video, as we just had a brand new contract signing yesterday. And so for today's spotlight, we are talking Kevin Bahl. Yesterday, he signed a 2-year, $1.05 million per contract to keep him a New Jersey Devil and will still be a RFA at the ending of this deal, meaning we have him under team control for at least another 3+ seasons. I wanted to start this video off talking about the game impact that Kevin brings, as well as the future outlook with him, and then we'll save his path to becoming a Devil towards the end of the video. So, for Bahl, we obviously were very hyped with what he brought towards the end of the season, and especially in playoffs, really coming into his own this year after, a little bit of intermittent starts in the previous seasons. Surprisingly, Kevin actually has a bit of better offensive impact than you might think, just looking at his size and play style, maybe thinking of him more as a defensive defenseman. But while that offense is certainly not elite, maybe not even considered great, but it's better than your typical third-pairing D-man would normally bring. He has a bomb of a shot that he can actually get through, even if it's not the most accurate, but he doesn't seem to hit as many shin pads as, say, like Ryan Graves would do. He's a lot more selective in his shot, so when he does choose to let rip like a one-timer from the point or something, it's actually fairly effective. Whereas some other D-men, especially third-pairing ones, try to just feed pucks to the net and end up just hitting off the shin pads and turning over possession. Bahl is actually really good at picking when and where to shoot. Now, he is another super tall guy on this team, similar to Dougie. Now, we did lose Graves, but you can see where he fits into the system and what Fitz is really trying to build here. These taller guys having a long reach and really just covering a lot of ice on the back end. Really kind of, making up for the supposedly smaller stature we have up front, but with a lot more additions and guys we brought in. I don't think that's really the case anymore at all. But Kevin does bring a different facet to the back end that really none of our other D-men do, and that's that physical play style. He is willing to throw hip checks, full body checks. He'll drop the gloves. You name it. He does do it. We have the size guys in Dougie, but we all know, Dougie's out there for the offense. He's not there to be sitting in the box, even if he finds himself there sometimes. But, he's not throwing major checks. He's not tossing his weight around. He's not dropping the gloves, nor do we want him to. We have, Luke coming in. That's obviously not his game either. Siegenthaler can do it a bit. I've seen Siegs throw a decent hit, but no, absolutely knocking wind out of guys type. And he will also drop the gloves here and there, but that's also not his forte. Marino, same thing. And then, a bit more Brendan Smith, Colin Miller maybe can fill that niche a bit better. But obviously, Shimon Nemec, not at all. So Bahl really does fit an area that the team is lacking. Just in the size and physicality department on the back end. So I think that alone almost will guarantee him a, if not full-time, an almost full-time roster spot on the team. And I think he fills it very well. I could actually see him being a bottom 4 type defenseman. So at 1.05 mil on the third pair, he's going to be great value on this team. I also think he would pair up very well with, say, a Colin Miller, or especially, I think, Shimon Nemec, if the team is willing to have two younger guys, more inexperienced guys, even though Kevin is really starting to get those games under his belt, they're on that third pairing type role. By the end of the season, it would not surprise me if that is our third pairing. So I've seen him listed anywhere from 216 up to like 228, but at the end of the day, he is still 6'6". So like I said, he covers a large part of the ice. And as we've seen, he is not afraid to take guys out along the boards when they are trying to get into the zone. So what about that defensive part of the game? Like I said, he's better offensively than you might think if he's not stellar. So what about what he's actually paid to do, and that's play defense? Well, he's a similar makeup, like I said, to the rest of the D. It's just about denial of entry and preventing chances, as a lot of our guys do. Not so much just in-zone defending, because we don't want to play inside our own zone. We want to either stop guys from getting there, or at least stop any chances if they do gain the zone, and then quickly passing the puck up the ice in transition. And it's those 3 areas that Bahl is actually quite good in. Denials is probably his best area, a little over league average in transition. And same with as far as preventing chances, not necessarily preventing the cycle. So as he continues to develop, especially if it's at the pace that he has been playing, if we see that Kevin Bahl from the other end of the regular season and the one we got in most of the playoffs, we are in for a real treat with this guy in our bottom four, especially given his age, his size, and development trajectory of defensemen. We have a really good asset here on our hands. Now, I do want to point out that while he was really strong at the end of the season and through most of the playoffs, that did trail off a bit towards the end. He did get less than 6 minutes of time in Game 3 against Carolina, which was our big coming out game. He did get 10 minutes in Game 4, so not terrible for a bottom pairing guy, but you probably want to see at least a couple more minutes there maybe. And then he was fully scratched in Game 5. So clearly there was a bit that the coaching staff wanted to see more from him in those areas in those last few games. But again, he's still super young, still developing. He hasn't had a full NHL season under his belt yet. I wouldn't really count last year because he spent half of it healthy scratch. So coming into next year, if he gets a full season under his belt, just a lot more situations to play in, and then obviously more playoff experience, he's going to just get better and better. I am a big Bahl believer. I have been since we traded for him. Somebody that had the mechanics of his game and his size is pretty much going to floor out as a third pairing defenseman, and his ceiling really could be in that second pair role. So I've seen it from the start, and it's great to see that really come to fruition now. So I, again, just cannot wait to see how a full year here, hopefully not half of it healthy scratched, will go for him. But he's going to have to fight for that ice because you guys got guys like Brendan Smith and Colin Miller that are also, and Shimon Nemec, presumably, if not to start, to end the season, that are fighting for every second of that ice. Now, I'm talking about a lot of where he could be. Now, let's say he kind of just stagnates, and this is generally where he is, a little bit of highs, a little bit of lows. That's fine. He doesn't need to be much more than he is now. We have Luke and Siegs on the left side. Obviously, Luke for the super long term, and Siegs at least medium term, if not longer. So he doesn't need to be any more than a third pairing defenseman, which is great. If he gets better, awesome. If he doesn't, he's still good in this role. There's no pressure for him to have to play above where he needs to be. And for a defenseman, that is what you need, because we are very used to on this team in the past playing guys above where they should be. And we've seen how that has gone. When you can slot guys appropriate, it makes all the difference. I think he is going to be a full-time NHLer again. Like I said, I think it's going to be less healthy scratch this season than last. And obviously the one-way contract shows that we plan on having him up here full-time. So if he is healthy scratch, just rotating guys in and out, he's still here the year after, and we still have him RFA'd after that. So long-term with Bahl is looking amazing. That really covers just my initial thoughts here on Kevin's game, what we can expect from him going forward, how he slots in with the team. I know he has a media availability coming up later today, so I might touch on that tomorrow. I might say that for a later video if there's just a bit more of information that starts to come out. So really just going to go ahead and transition here into, well, how did he become a Devil? So Kevin was born June 27th, 2000. His father, Jonathan, and his mother, whose name was not anywhere to be found on the internet, even though I did find a few good videos from his time down in the AHL, just doing some spotlights on his family that seem very well grounded and connected, very close family. He has his sister, Christina, who is a few years younger than he is, who actually also plays hockey at a very high level, played with Team Canada internationally. So clearly something his parents are doing right and helping these two develop into phenomenal athletes. Now, Bahl originally actually preferred soccer as his sport of choice, but after a head-on-head collision with another player in a soccer match, he switched over to hockey, which infamously has less collisions and less head-on-head contact of the sorts. Something in that soccer match, maybe it's just being able to wear a helmet in hockey made all the difference, but he did not enjoy that head-on-head hit and, moved over to the less physical sport. But we're glad that he made that transition because he has been excellent here. He started out his amateur career in 2015-16 as a Toronto Marlboro, ended up being drafted 31st overall by the Ottawa 67s, made his debut as a 16-year-old in the 2016-17 season. He was the team's Rookie of the Year with 1 goal and 3 assists in 57 games, so clearly they thought a lot of his defensive game and physical impact. In 2017, he would win gold with Team Canada at the Ivan Hlinka Memorial Tournament. And then going into the 2018 entry draft, Ball was considered fairly highly sought after, ranking 29th overall, but would end up dropping to 55th overall, being drafted by the Arizona Coyotes. Ball would continue to play for the Ottawa 67s for the next couple of seasons until COVID cut his season short. December 16th, 2019, Ball was traded to the New Jersey Devils in a package that included Nick Merkley, Nate Schnarr, a conditional first-round 2020 pick, which turned into Dawson Mercer, and a conditional third-round pick in 2021, which we traded for Jonas Siegenthaler. The Coyotes received a half season of Taylor Hall and Blake Spears. I think that trade worked out pretty well for us. So Ball would make his NHL debut after a short stint with the Binghamton Devils on April 29, 2021. His first career point would come the very next game on May 1st against the Flyers with an assist on Jesper Bratt's goal. He would finish that season with 2 assists in 7 games. His first career goal would come the next season in a 3-point game with 2 assists on April 12, 2022 against the Arizona Coyotes. 2022-23 season would be Ball's best professional career yet, getting into half the regular season games, like I said, being healthy scratched and the rest, a bulk of which came at the end of the season where he earned his time, ended up playing in 11 of 12 playoff games where he did get 1 assist and, like I said, was a healthy scratch in that last game where we were eliminated. In total, Ball's put up 3 goals, 11 assists for 14 points in 66 regular season games, all games with the New Jersey Devils. So, off the ice, Ball, like I said, seems to have a very close-knit family. He loves going back up to Canada, spending time at the cabin, as most Canadians do, away from his cell phone and all that, and just unwinding and catching up with the family. He's done a bit of media spotlights, but not too much. Like I said, usually the lower guys do not tend to have as much off-ice spotlight on them. So, again, he's part of this core here. He's been in and out of the room, but seems to now be a mainstay, and I think he will build a great chemistry with all the young guys and teammates he will be with here for years to come. My top 3 plays with Kevin. Number 3 was his first NHL goal. That, like I said, he had a one-timer from the blue line against the Arizona Coyotes. This was his first game against the team that drafted him, and he puts up 2 assists on top of that goal for a 3-point night. Not too bad for a defensive defenseman, and so you just absolutely love to see that. At number 2, it is going to be just kind of his overall style of play that he does bring to the Devils, because like I said, we were lacking that. Watching big wrecking ball coming in and laying out those hip checks on guys, nothing dirty. He's not throwing elbows, even though he's much bigger than almost everybody on the ice, but just those big brutal board hits on the whole is something you just, monkey brain loves to see on the ice. Now, I'm not, we need grit in the NHL lineup for playoffs or anything like that, but when you have a guy that can play the defensive game, can help contribute at least a little bit on the offensive side, and can throw the body around, yeah, I'll absolutely take it. In that same vein, coming in at number 1 is going to be, again, in the playoffs, Game 5 against the New York Rangers, where he threw not 1, but 2 hip checks, taking 2 Rangers out of the play, and then dropped the gloves with Goodrow in a fairly... No crazy punches were hammered home. Goodrow couldn't even reach Ball's entire arm length, and Ball seemed to kind of let him off easy. Nice thing for the... But still, just those 2 amazing hits completely changed kind of the feel of the possession in the zone. Got us a nice stop and play, and then taking Goodrow off the ice compared to Ball, maybe as a net negative for us. Always fun to see. That's really going to do it for today's episode. I'm looking forward to watching his interview a little bit later today, just to see how excited he is to have another contract here with us. I hope you all have a great rest of your day. I'll see you again tomorrow morning. Let's go Devils.